guys, Julia here from JM2 Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a bins haul, and this one's gonna be pretty fun. So typically when I go to the bins, I get there really early and I basically stay until I feel like I've found enough, or until I've had enough. It gets too crowded, or the dust flying around the room is a little bit too much, whatever the case may be. But this time I had 1 hour. I had a hard stop at 1 hour in the bins. My week was crazy. I had a doctor's appointment to go to afterwards. It was just hard stop, and I rarely have a time limitation when I'm at the bins. So it's always interesting to me to see what happens when I'm really looking to see what I can find, and the decisions that I make when I'm rushed. So typically what I do when I get back from the bins is I sit down and I check everything into inventory. And when I'm doing that, I set, a ballpark, what I think I'm gonna get for the item, etc. And I do a little bit of research, but typically when I go deep on brands, unless it's something that I'm really interested in and getting into immediately when I get home, typically when I go deep in brands is when I'm listing them. So I made it a point to go as quickly as possible when checking this in, so we could go over my thought process when I'm rushed together. I thought that would be kind of fun. I'm sure there will be at least one what was she thinking item in these bags, so let's roast my decision making together. But with that being said, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I'm Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, we've got a lot of stuff to get through. I think I have 35 items, and y'all, 35 items in an hour is crazy. In any bins, mine included. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink. You know I've got my matcha latte. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the haul. So the first thing we got here are these adorable shoes. These are from Madewell, and I gotta be real, I don't pick up a ton of shoes. For me, I talk about this a lot. I have very limited storage space. I'm a one-girl show. I do all of this from my spare bedroom / guest room / office / inventory storage / so shoes are bulky and I don't pick up a lot of them. And typically when I'm going over them, I just do a cursory glance, but I saw these and they're from Madewell, and literally I was just looking at a pair of ballet flats that have the same toe. So I know that these are pretty recent. They've got a little bit of a block heel. They're a size 6.5, which is kind of small, but they're in pretty great condition. There's almost no wear to the heel. You can see where it's been worn up here a little bit, but the heel is brand new. So I'm gonna guess that these were probably only worn a few times. Madewell shoes, I really like them. I don't know if you've ever bought them before, but if you're looking for a pair of shoes and you're not sure about the quality of Madewell shoes, I wholeheartedly stand behind them. Really nice. They're usually leather with leather soles. They're well made. The ballet flats that look like this with the little Mary Janes, I wanna say they're $148 or $168, so not cheap. So I'm not quite sure what I'll get on these, maybe 40 or 50 bucks. I don't know if they're inline, but I know that they're still selling shoes that look like this. And the square toe kind of Mary Jane style is still very in right now. And brown suede, obviously in right now. So yeah, 40, 50 bucks. I thought this was a great pickup and I was excited to find them. So first up here, and let's all just have a moment to appreciate that I'm picking up a heavy jacket when spring is right around the corner. Guys, rushed decision-making, Julia, in full effect. But the thing is, I probably would have picked this jacket up anytime I saw it. There's a lot about it that I really like. First of all, the color is gorgeous. It's this burgundy, and it looks, it's not real fur, but it has the look of trimmed fur. I can't remember the name of this. So it has that look to it. It's of course faux, but the brand on this is Ebay Poshmark. It's a size large and it's in beautiful condition. And it's kind of like a pea coat style, right? So it's a little bit longer. It's not full length. It probably hits just right above the knee. It's in fantastic condition. So I want to say that this probably retailed $250 or $300. Ebay Poshmark is pretty expensive. And I'm just gonna set this aside so I can get this listed today. Because really spring break is people are leaving for spring break as I'm filming this right now. So I need to get this listed ASAP. But I anticipate I'll probably get somewhere between $50 and $75 on this. Hopefully fairly soon. I really don't like to be storing bulky jackets over the summer, but you just can't leave something like this behind when you can get it for $2, right? You just can't. And it is so cute though. That is a statement jacket for sure. Now, we all know that I am a sucker for vintage, and this, So this is, I think that this is a silk jacquard. It has a really nice drape. This is handmade. You can see like markings on the inside. So I have no idea, like I don't have any kind of confirmation. I just have like feel to go by. But this dress is like 1950s to early 1960s vintage wedding perfection. It's this beautiful like cream color. You can tell it's definitely like a warmer cream. It's got this beautiful, like, not quite a boat neck. It's a wider V-neck with this gorgeous little drape around it. It's got this decorative bow. It's in fantastic condition. I wonder, you know, with the markings on the inside, you wonder if this was used as like a costume piece. There's one little marking on the back here, which I'll see if I can gently kind of coax out. It's nothing like too big or too noticeable. Like it kind of blends into the pattern, but I mean, for somebody who is going for like a vintage wedding, this could easily be like a second wedding dress. This could be an engagement party dress. Like this, in terms of like a vintage piece, if you're ever finding like a vintage cocktail dress, if you could find one that could be used in like a wedding application, it's like the ideal situation. People are generally like more willing to spend up a little bit when they're buying something for their wedding or for their engagement party, etc. But my God. But isn't that gorgeous? And it looks to be like, eyeballing this, obviously this is handmade, so this was probably custom made for somebody's body. This looks to be about a size 10, like a modern size 10. So it's not, you know, a lot of times you find stuff like this and it's vintage and it's like a size 2. This looks like it's gonna fit about a size 10, which is just so exciting. Just below the knee length, classic, classy, all the things. So for something like this, I'll probably see somewhere between like 75 and 150. That's about what I get. I'll do a little bit of gentle work to see if I can get that stain out because I would love to be able to sell this like pristine, you know, kind of like ready to go for somebody. But even with the mark, I would probably not get less than like $75 on something like this. It is so stunning. Absolute dream. Those are my favorite kind of things to find. Next up, one of my favorite bread and butter brands. We know I love me a J.Jill. I especially love me a J.Jill Love Linen. This is of all of their, like, I don't want to call them sub-brands because they're not really sub-brands, but like little categories inside of J.Jill. Love Linen tends to sell the fastest for me. I do try to pick up only like large, extra large, 2X, you know, and into the plus sizes, but this is a size large, but this is linen. It's this beautiful little tropical print. Again, we're right up on spring vacation. It's got these cute little bell sleeves, about 3/4 length here. Perfect condition. Something like this, typically J.Jill, I'll get between like $20 and $30. The Love Linen, usually a little bit more like 25 to 35. And again, in perfect condition. I'll pick up J.Jill Love Linen like anytime I see it. Absolutely love those pieces. It's a really nice linen too. Next up, oh, another brand I love to find. And I always find it funny, like Eileen Fisher, so this is Eileen Fisher, obviously. This is Eileen Fisher. And the size tag has been cut out. I think it's about a size large. The thing that I love about Eileen Fisher is that they use these like really unusual fabrics. This is a linen silk blend and it's such an unusual feeling textile. Like it's got a little bit of sheen to it. I don't know if the camera is picking that up. It's like semi-sheer, right? Like you couldn't wear this alone. You would have to wear something underneath of it. It's tunic length. Like I can see the whole outfit that this shirt goes to. But I feel like more than any other brand, especially when I'm in the bins because I go so much by feel, like I feel like I can feel an Eileen Fisher piece faster than any other brand because she uses these kind of like unusual textiles. I just thought this was so pretty. Now Eileen Fisher, wildly expensive. This was probably $300, maybe $400 given the fabric content. On the resale market, something like this I'll probably get somewhere between like 30 and 50. So Eileen Fisher is not the brand that you're gonna get like $100 for, but I love picking it up. They're super high quality. They're generally very timeless styles. Not everybody can go to a store and drop $300 or $400 on something like this, but like if you're going to Macy's or if you're going to Nordstrom, like a new shirt from an okay brand is gonna be 40, 50 bucks. Like wouldn't you rather get something like this for 40, 50 bucks? Then you know what I'm saying? Like I love finding these kind of pieces for that alone. I love Eileen Fisher. Just beautiful. I will pick up, Eileen Fisher is another one that you want to try to pick up larger sizes with. It does tend to be a little bit more of a mature brand, but even still, like I've picked up a couple like extra smalls and they do move, they just move a little bit slower. You know, you get into the extra large, the 2X from Eileen Fisher, these things usually are out of my closet, lickety split. Next up, ooh, you know I love my vintage nightgowns. Now, I picked this up because it's silk beautiful red silk with, it's inside out. Sorry about that. There we go. So I picked this up because it was silk and it's red and it's a little chemise. And again, like right now, stuff like this isn't necessarily like, I'm almost positive that when this gets purchased, it's not going to be purchased to be worn as like a chemise, as like a nightgown. Somebody's going to wear this out to the club, which like respect. So I bought it because I'm going to buy anything that's like silk with lace trim. I'm going to buy anything that looks like this, especially if I'm getting it at a good price. And when I brought it home, I did like a Google image search because if you look really closely, this lace is kind of distinctive. Like it's a black, let me see if I can get this where you can actually see it. It's a black lace with a red kind of embroidery on it. So it's just like, it's distinctive. And sure enough, this is Victoria's Secret gold label. So that is, if you're ever outsourcing and you're looking at a Victoria's Secret piece, my general, like for me, criteria for picking up Victoria's Secret is if it's silk, if it's Y2K, of course, just in terms of style, or if it is gold label, which generally means like 1990s into the early 2000s. I think that they stopped using the gold label in the early 2000s. And this is gold label. So it's in pretty great condition. There's a couple little picks on the silk, nothing like glaring, nothing that you would see if you were looking at it. It's only the kind of thing that you can kind of see if you're holding it up to the light. And even still, it's pretty subtle. And I love the back, that like lace up low back. So pretty. So something like this, the only bummer is I don't know what size it is. Again, the label's been removed here. Probably somewhere between like $30 and $45. I'll have to comp like this dress, see if I can find other examples of this exact dress, but it is so pretty. Next up, okay, this is something that might be on our Julia made rash decisions list. This sweater is from Arturo Tayama. I just thought it was really pretty. It's kind of a minimalist look. It's navy blue. It's like a lightweight cotton blend. And it's a little bit short in the back, size 38, which I can never, like, I need to know these conversion tables better than I do every time I have to look them up. And then the front, like, hangs open, but it's a little bit of a cascade front there. And it's lined in this chiffon, right? So this is what's against your body. I don't know, it's really pretty. I'm not quite sure. The sold comps on this designer were all over the place. I'm talking from like $7 to $50, so I am not sure what I'll get for this. I thought it was a nice, like, lightweight kind of spring sweater. I like the style of it, but in something like this, when you're doing a basic, sometimes selling for style is a little bit difficult. Like if you're picking up for style, which, do it, especially if you've got a good bead on like what's on trend. If you're picking up for style, for me, I like to have a lot of like things about it that I can describe, like if it's a heavily embellished piece that's like a baby doll dress that's got beading and sequins and a high slit and whatever, like that kind of thing is something I'm a lot more comfortable picking up for style alone. Something like this is a basic, it's a minimalist piece. So this might be a slow mover. I'm interested to see, I mean, for all I know, this will sell in 2 days. But again, we are looking at all of the purchases, rash decisions and all. So let me know, are you familiar with this designer? Have you ever picked up her pieces or his pieces? I'm not quite sure. Let me know, what was your experience? Do you like their stuff? I'm interested to hear what you all have to say about this. Or was this a bad pickup? Let me know. Yes! Next up, guys, the vintage was giving this day. I feel like I found a really interesting blend of stuff. Guys, I'm dying at this. Look at this 1960s, like shark skin. I mean, this is not shark skin, obviously, but that kind of fabric with a little bit of sheen to it. This mod confection. Oh, I cannot even handle this. This is something, of course, I'm gonna photograph on the mannequin. It has the belt included, and the belt is missing a few stones. I don't think that that really matters. The designer on this, the tag itself looked really nice. This looked really nice to me, this S. Howard Hirsh. And it looks like he was around between like the 60s and the 70s. I think a lot of the dresses that he's more famous for, or at least the ones that I saw when I was searching, were like those 1970s kind of boho floor length dresses with like, like a brown kind of velvet top and then like a paisley bottom. But this looks to be a little bit older. There's a little bit of age spotting, but not much. It's pretty faint. It's overall in fantastic condition. Like this neckline though, this neckline is like giving me life. It's so chic. It is so chic. Yeah, there's no size on it. It looks to be about like a size 6, maybe a size 4, so I'll have to get measurements on it, but I mean, I absolutely love it. Again, something I'll probably see somewhere between like $50 and $100 on. Oh, I'm obsessed with this. I wish this would fit me. This is the kind of vintage that I would wear every day. This like late 60s mod, clean lines, kind of architectural details. Oh my God, I love it so much. I cannot wait to get that to a new home. Like, I wish that there was a non-creepy way, I'm gonna say this, non-creepy way that I could ask people who buy stuff like this from me to like just send me a picture of them like style. Like, I wanna see these things back out in the world. I really need to like ask them to tag me on Instagram because I want to see this being used again. You know what I'm saying? If any of you ever buy something like this from me, formal request, please send me pictures. I don't even know what that fabric is. This fabric feels like silk too. Next up, this was a cool find. So I think it was just last week. I think it was a week or two ago. I found a pair of like olive green leather skinny pants from RTA, which stands for Road to Awe. And then this week I found this gorgeous sweater from them. So this is all cotton. It's nice and drapey and it's kind of distressed. That's like their vibe, right? Like RTA is very like rock and roll, lots of studs, lots of distressing, that vibe. And this is, you know, kind of like a wide cropped sweater. This is women's. It's got a nice hood, and this is always like an easy way to tell like pretty high quality stuff when you have the hood that's completely lined. This is the label you're looking for, and it's like pretty subtle, so you might miss it if you're going fast, but keep your eyes out for it. I mean, this probably was about $400 retail, and I'll probably see somewhere between, again, like $50 and $100 for this. They're no joke expensive, and it's a pretty niche buyer pool, but it's a niche item, right? So there's only so many out there. This was very, very exciting. And I think that this is one of their more modern pieces, which is even better. I'm always excited to find that label in the bins. High-end and niche is something that like you need to kind of have an understanding that it might take a little bit of time to sell, but typically you're gonna get like a pretty good price for it, as long as you have the room to store it for a couple months before it gets sold. Next up, oh, these are so, I get so triggered because this was like my time in fashion. These like low-rise, wide waistband pants. These are from Elie Tahari, and Elie Tahari is the designer behind, of course, Elie Tahari T by Tahari and Tahari, which you'll see in like Macy's. I'm sure you're familiar with Tahari, but Elie Tahari is like the highest end line that he does. And these are Y2K for sure, khaki, low rise, that wide waistband with the double button. This is so like, if you're out looking for Y2K pieces, if you're looking for like style pickups, this kind of waistband with a low rise is very like of the era. These are in great condition. Again, a nice like kind of stone khaki color. And I love this little detail, this little top stitching detail along the side hem. Can you see that? I love those kind of details. And those are the kind of things that you're gonna see in higher end pieces. So something like these, I'll probably get somewhere between like 30 and 40 on. The fit is exactly what people are looking for right now. While Y2K is still a thing, I will be picking up these pieces every time I see them. It is still wild to me that that style is back in. We worked so hard to get these kids high-waisted pants. I cannot even believe that like whale's tails are a thing again. If you don't know what whale's tails are, probably not appropriate for me to show it, but you can go ahead and Google that. Not at work. So next up, I don't think I realized exactly how much vintage stuff I picked up this day. So this is vintage Nanette Lepore. I like vintage Nanette Lepore pieces. And these kind of skirts, so this is like a wool blend. It's actually quite soft. It's in this beautiful, like rich brown, and it's got this pleating on the bottom, which I love, and a little velvet detail there on the bottom. There's velvet piping here at the top of the waistband, that kind of two button waistband. Something about this, like I see a lot of skirts similar to this from like Loft and Ann Taylor, from around the same era, and these just sell better for me than them. And I think the reason being is that like Loft and Ann Taylor, they make like, they're like career wear, right? Like that's where you go when you work in an office and you need like business professional clothing or like business casual clothing. Nanette Lepore was a little bit more fashion focused, so she always had a little bit more like rich detail in her pieces. They move really well for me. I'm interested, do you guys pick up vintage Nanette Lepore? Do you leave it behind? Do you pick up stuff like this from like Loft? I know that there's a lot of people who do really well with career wear. For whatever reason, for me, that has never been something that sold well for me. So if that is something that you do, like what is it that you pick up and what sells the best for you? I'm interested to hear, because again, that's just not something that does well for me, but I know people are out there that do very, very well with it. So Anyway, I thought that that was so cute. Size 6. I'll pick up these pieces from Nanette anytime I see them. Next up, I got this cute little bralette from Free People, like Intimately Free People. These sell shockingly well for me. So this is like all cotton eyelet. I don't know how much detail you're getting there. And it's got a lace up front and the back is racer back, but this is all smocked. So for like a rigid bra, like typically these bras are stretchy, but the front of this is like rigid. So it's got the give in the back here. It's in great condition. I would never tell anybody to pick this up anywhere but at the bins. If you can get it at a bins where they sell by weight, by all means, you should be picking these up. You'll probably be paying like 50 or 75 cents for it. But things like this, I generally get between like 15 to like $25 at like the high end. So if you're able to source them really cheap, go for it. But if you're looking down the barrel of $3.99 or $4.99 for something like this, I would leave it behind. But yeah, if you're able to source these cheap, for me, these sell very, very quickly, especially with festival season, like right around the corner. This is the kind of stuff that's going to get sold for festival season. Oh my God, you guys, I'm not kidding with the vintage pieces. Okay, so this, it's definitely a wool blend. The reason I picked this up is it's from Sweden. And I'm kind of testing this out. I don't find a lot of this. This is, I think, only the second piece of like Scandinavian kind of winter wear that I've ever found. And I hear that a lot of people do really well with it. So let me know your experience. It's vintage. I'm gonna say probably just going by this tag, like 90s. Maybe early 2000s. It's from a brand called Ivanho, which is still in business, and their sweaters sell between like $100 and $200. But it's this beautiful cherry red with this diamond pane. So I'm interested to see how I do. I didn't really do much comping on it. So I'll estimate from here probably somewhere between $25 and $35. But for all I know, this could be like a really sought after brand. But I'll do a little bit more research on it. I'll try to make sure I include this in a ship with me. It is in perfect condition. And, you know, again, a really nice quality sweater from Sweden, where I can only assume that they make very excellent sweaters because they really need them. I'll give it a try at a bins price. If I'd seen this for $15, I probably would not have picked it up. So stay tuned, I will report back. Okay, so next up, and this was like in a 2-piece set. These pieces were like stacked on top of one another. And I'm very interested to hear if anybody else has had experience with it. So this is from a brand called My Gauze. And this one is like brand new with tags. Let me know if you are familiar with this. So the one piece are the, oh my God, these pants. They're like lime green pants, and they have this like tiered bottom to them. I want these pants. I cannot wear this color, but I want these pants. They look so fun. They're like a cotton gauze, and then this was the top that was over them. And this is kind of like a taupe, tie-dye, you know, oversized boxy shirt with like a point to it. And I'm interested to hear from you guys if these things are, first of all, normally sold in a set. Like I said, when I found these were stacked one on top of the other. So I don't know if they were sold together as a set or if this is just how the person who donated it kept it in their closet. But it looks like sold comps on their stuff look pretty decent, between like the high 20s and like the high 30s, some going up into the 40s. So, I mean, I love selling this kind of stuff. It's like boho, a little bit log and look, so I can kind of use both sets of keywords, but I've never heard of this brand before and it looks really nice. And I just think that this is the kind of style that's gonna sell. Are there sizes on these? There's a 3 on it, so I don't know if that's a size 3 or if that is just like an internal thing, but this looks to be, you know, similar to something that's free size that'll fit lots of different bodies. So I have to do a little bit more research on these again, mostly to see if I want to sell this together as a set or not. But let me know your experience with this brand. Is this a brand that you like? Is this a brand that you see a lot? Is this a brand that you keep your eyes out for? Looks like they're based in Florida, which makes sense with like the fabric and the general like beachy vibe here, but I was pretty excited to find this. And I did see it later in the week. I went to like a regular thrift store later in the week and I saw a few pieces that were like $7.99, $8.99. So I'm wondering if I made a bad decision leaving those other ones behind. I've gotten spoiled by my bins. Next up, this is a brand I definitely want you to keep your eyes out for, and I'm interested to hear how many people see it where they are. This is Amore Vert. And their whole shtick as a company is like sustainability, right? So there are a lot of like very simple pieces, basics, high quality basics, beautifully made, pretty expensive. This was probably somewhere between $150 to $200 new. It's this really cute ribbed like Henley placket collared shirt, almost like polo style. I love this baby blue color. It's a size medium, perfect condition. I've only found one other piece. Like the brand itself is on my radar because I like their stuff personally. And I've only found one other piece and it sold super quick for a great price. So I would anticipate probably seeing somewhere between like 35 and 45 on this, maybe a little bit up. I'll have to do a little bit more research on like this specific piece. Oh, it is merino wool and cotton, so maybe towards the higher end of that. It is really soft. So let me know, like, is this a brand that you found before? Is this a brand that's on your bucket list? I'm interested. If it's not on your radar, you should make sure that this is on your radar because, again, it's a pretty high-end, in-demand brand and their stuff is beautiful and timeless. Next up here, okay, this is an interesting one. And this might be one of my like hasty decisions, but I just thought this was so cute. So this is from Line & Dot, which is a brand that they sell, at least sold at Revolve. Really like beautifully made stuff. But this is like a burgundy wool romper. So I feel like certain rompers I have sell so quick and some sit forever. Like, let me know if you have the same experience. But I loved the color. I loved the fabric. This is like a wool suiting fabric. Can you see the texture there? And it's fully lined, of course, so this isn't next to the skin. The fabric feels like akin to what you would find on a really light pea coat, if you can imagine. There's no like fabric tag in here, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I thought it was super cute. I mean, I'm interested to see how fast this moves. Again, it's a pretty specific piece. There's no size tag in here. It looks to be, again, about a size 6, but we'll find out. This might be one of those hasty decision things that I maybe would have filtered out if I had a little bit more time to consider in the bins, but we'll find out. This is something that maybe I'll put on an exploding deadline. Maybe if it doesn't sell by end of summer, I'll move it on, I'll redonate it, or I'll take it down to the buy-sell trade, but otherwise, I think it's really cute, personally. But let me know, is this something that you would have picked up or is this something that you would have left behind? Let your girl know. Oh, this was an exciting one. Another vintage piece and another sweater, and I think of all of my follies in a rushed trip to the bins was the sheer amount of like winter clothing I picked up. This I don't think will sit that long. This is vintage 80s Paco Rabanne, which is insane. High end designer out of France. This is black. I think that this is a women's shirt just by the silhouette and size, so this would be a little bit blousy. It is in beautiful condition. I don't know how much detail you're picking up here of the knit pattern. I'll try to see that close. But it feels very 90s, again, in fantastic condition. So I'm interested to see what I'll get on this. There are sold comps for vintage Paco Rabanne sweaters that range between like $30 and $300. So I'm not quite sure what I'll get for this, but man, finding this label in the bins is a heart flutter for sure. And let me know, have you ever found a Paco Rabanne sweater? It's funny, like as a kid who grew up kind of in this era, I knew Paco Rabanne from the cologne. Like I didn't even know that Paco Rabanne was like an actual designer. So that is what happens when you don't have the internet when you're growing up. Isn't that cool? I mean, like I said, I have no idea what I'll get for this. Somewhere between $30 and $300. We'll find out. Next up, okay, so this was kind of an exciting find for me, like on a personal level. This is a dress from Sourpuss. Now, I want to know if you guys are familiar with Sourpuss. Sourpuss was the local company back in Philly, and I had a friend that I used to work with who went on to be a designer for Sourpuss. And for me, this was just an exciting find because this might be like her dress that she designed, but obviously I love vintage, but I also love picking up like vintage style clothing. So this is just a cute little gingham dress, red buttons, red accents. The waistband is elastic, so it'll be comfortable, and it does tie in the back to kind of cinch where you need it. I love the little cherry detail on the sleeves. This is very like rockabilly. This is the kind of thing you see the girl wear to like, roller derby. You know what I'm saying? It's that little bit of like retro punk rock blend, but this is the tag. So let me know, like I'm so interested if you guys are familiar with Sourpuss or if this is a brand that I know because it's local to me. They sell retail about the same price as ModCloth, and it looks to be that they resell on the secondhand market around the same price as well. So I'm always excited to find this style, but for me personally, this was just kind of a cool find to find on the other side of the country. Next up, this is a brand I will pick up anytime I see it. This is Everlane. I love Everlane pieces. Their whole thing is like really high quality pieces without the middleman, and can confirm everything I've ever had from Everlane is like beautifully made. The textiles are really nice. They always have a really nice, like, if you're interested in sustainability, I think that Everlane does this better than like anybody else who's kind of in that space in terms of like communicating it to consumers. Anyway, I thought that this was lovely. This feels like brand new. I think this is called like their boxy Oxford. Like it's a very specific cut, so it's kind of like wider than it is long. Kind of a cropped length, which I think is really flattering if you like to wear kind of more oversized things, but you don't necessarily like the length. Especially if you're somebody like me who's like 75% leg versus 25% torso. It is a size extra large. This will sell in no time flat. I'll probably see somewhere between $30 and $40 on this. And right now, this is like the perfect kind of transitional piece that will sell very, very quickly. This will be in and out of my closet in no time. Always excited to find an Everlane piece. What's another ski sweater in March? You know? Okay, I could not leave this behind. This is vintage. Brand on this is the Lemon Clothing Company. Like, look at this tag. I don't know if I've ever seen a more like 80s, early 90s looking tag in my life. Like, look at these guys. Look at those guys. And the color and the shapes and the way it's done. I mean, I just think that this is super cute. It is definitely wool. Yeah, it's wool, alpaca, nylon, and acrylic. And you can kind of feel the alpaca. Alpaca wool has like a very distinct feel to it. I don't know how to describe that, but if you've ever felt an alpaca sweater, if you ever see an alpaca sweater, like give it a good feel so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. Alpaca is expensive, so you want to be able to identify that by feel as quickly as possible. So take the time to do it. But I just thought this was so cool. This is something that I am gonna get up and listed really quickly. I would not be surprised. I've talked about this before. So in ski towns, there are like party days for the locals on the hill. Usually opening day is a big party on the ski mountain. Closing day is a big party. Most places will have something called a gaper day, which is just kind of a day where people go out and they wear kind of ridiculous stuff like this on the slopes. Park City has clown day, and there's usually like parties in the woods, and it's a whole thing and it's a whole scene. And a lot of people try to shop thrift stores that are like local to ski mountains, because that's not surprisingly where you would find stuff like this. But since these days have gotten more popular, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find stuff like this around ski towns, because it's just, you know, there's a finite supply and it gets snapped up. The fact that I found this in LA, hilarious. So if you find pieces like this, vintage ski suits, vintage ski jackets, vintage ski sweaters, you want to make sure, obviously, use vintage ski. You can use those like old 80s ski movies as keywords, Aspen Extreme, Ski School, but you can also use closing day, gaper day, that's G-A-P-E-R. What a gaper is a whole other conversation. You can use opening day, vintage ski gear. Make sure you're using these keywords so the people that are in the ski towns looking for stuff like this, to make sure that it's landing on their search results. But something like this, I'll probably get, I mean, it is really nice quality. I'll probably get like $35 to $45 on this, but I am going to get this listed ASAP because those party days are coming up. Pond skimming, you also want to use pond skimming. Sorry, that just popped into my head, but I need to get this listed quickly because all of these party days are coming up like in the next few weeks. So I'll get this listed ASAP. Oh my God, guys. I'm realizing exactly how many heavy wool sweaters I picked up this day. But this is a vintage, I think this is Scottish. Oh, this is a vintage British sweater, pure new wool, Charles Austin. Look at this tag. Definitely like late 70s, early 80s. It's this red, chunky fisherman style sweater. Even with this being an extremely heavy sweater, I still think this will sell very, very quickly. These kind of sweaters are very reliable sellers for me. I do, of course, prefer picking them up in the fall. They will take a little bit longer to sell, but it is gorgeous quality. I can't leave these kind of things behind because they will sell. It will sell for a great price. I'll probably get, you know, somewhere $30 to $40 on this. If this were like an Irish sweater or a Scottish sweater, you're looking at like $40, $45 like minimum. But this will move quick enough. These kind of things are in demand all year long. People like sweaters like this to throw on at the beach, like, you know, on a chilly night. So again, I probably $35, $40 on this, and it's in fantastic condition. I can't leave these kind of things behind. Like, this is moral imperative for me. But my God, did I get so many sweaters. Next up, this is a great bread and butter piece. These are from Talbots, and they are a 12 long, which I love finding long length pieces. They sell really well. There's just not a lot of it on the secondhand market. So I like to make sure that when I do find them and they're good quality pieces that I grab them. These are in great condition. They're from Talbots. Brown corduroy flare pants. I think these will go pretty quickly. I'll probably see somewhere between like 28 and 35 on these. I have no doubt they'll go pretty quickly. They're a good lightweight corduroy. They're not super heavy. Again, that size is fantastic. I'm sure that these will go pretty quickly. Anybody out there who is a tall queen knows exactly how hard it is to find stuff that's long enough for your legs. And anytime I'm able to offer that on the secondhand market, I'm really happy to do so. It's hard enough to find something that fits if you're just shopping in stores, so let alone secondhand. Okay, next up, I think at this point you're recognizing exactly how chaotic this day at the bins was. So this is a Harry Potter robe, and it's Ravenclaw, which, fun fact, I am a Ravenclaw. Let me know your Hogwarts house if you know in the comments. So I picked this up. I'm telling you, this was like the strangest day at the bins. So I picked this up, like if you've ever gone to Universal and you've gone to like the Wizarding World or whatever, these are like really popular souvenirs and they're like over $100. They're super expensive. But the ones that you get at Universal are like they're kind of like a polyester crepe fabric. This is velvet and fully lined. So I don't know if this is like an older one, if this is kind of like vintage from when the books initially came out in the early 2000s, but you know, it's got the hood, it's again, velvet, and it's fully lined in satin. So I'm not quite sure what I'll get for this. I mean, I just picked this up because I know how expensive they are. And even if this has to like sit around until Halloween, I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Maybe like 40 bucks on this? I can't imagine that they don't resell for a little chunk of money. This was 100% something I did not comp in store and didn't really comp when I was putting it into the inventory bin, but let me know if you have ever sold stuff like this. Like, what did you get for it? I'm super interested, but like, I wasn't gonna leave this behind for $2, just knowing how expensive these are in the souvenir shop. And again, it's nicer than the ones that you see in the souvenir shop. So I guess we'll find out. I'll try to report back. But this is a perfect example of the level of chaos it is when you are trying to fit a full sourcing day into 1 hour at the bins. Next up, again on the theme park souvenirs, this is a Pirates of the Caribbean coat. And the reason I picked this up is because this is a vintage tag. I think this is from like 2004, 2005-ish, so like the late Y2K era. And this very much has that like affliction vibe to it, that like Ed Hardy affliction vibe. So I'm not quite sure how this will do. I mean, this might be something that I end up donating right back. I have to do a little bit more research into it. But when I see the woven tags, I usually tend to pick them up. Usually the ones you want to look for are the ones that either like visually look older than this or the ones that have Mickey Mouse on them. So the ones with Mickey Mouse on them, and this goes for Disneyland and Walt Disney World, the little Mickey logo right next to it, those are from like the late 90s to the like 2002, 2003. And those pieces sell really well for me. So I'm interested. And I mean, for all you know, like there is such a dedicated collector's market for Disneyana. Like, I mean, it's so dedicated that they have their own name for it. But to be effective in picking it up beyond like knowing that this is Y2K and this is 90s, you really have to be like keyed in on what these people are looking for. Like there is merch that comes out now. Like if you ever go to like a Disneyland park or whatever, like you will see signs that say like limit 1 per person, and on like release days for certain merch you will see lines that are hours. Like people will wait like 6 hours in line for like a popcorn bucket, which is, I mean, like insane to me. But you know, there are people who make entire businesses on reselling like limited edition merch that they get from the parks. But like, you just really need to be like finger on the pulse of what people really want. For me, for somebody who is just like not willing to put in that amount of time to just follow that one niche, for me, I just typically try to find something that's vintage, right? And for me, the tell is always going to be the tags. Like this is probably the newest tag that I would pick up for a Disney piece. And I'm sure I'm leaving money in the bins for those people who know what they're looking for, and that's great because there is profit enough for everybody. So I'm interested to see how this does. I'll do a little bit more research for it. For all I know, this could be something that's worth like $5, or it could be worth something that's like $150. So I will do more research, but just, you know, a little tidbit on the tags for you guys if you guys are outsourcing and also not super clued into like what is super hot in the Disney collectors market. If you go by the tag and you find something that's older, for sure pick it up, especially if you're getting it at the bins. Next up, now listen, it's another sweater. But it's a fabulous granny sweater, and I'm never gonna leave these kinds of things behind. If you go to stores today, you will see sweaters that are trying to recreate this magic, and they're just not doing it. This is real deal 1980s or early 90s, Rebecca Stone petites. Isn't this fabulous? I mean, just the amount of embellishment, the colors. This goes under that like soft girl aesthetic, granny core, grandma sweater. I mean, like the pearls. The buttons are pearls. I will get probably about $30 to $35 on this, maybe closer to $40 just because of the level of embellishment. It's a decent size. I'm gonna have to make sure to put sizing on it, but everything about this sweater, for the people that like this kind of style, everything about this sweater is perfect. The colors are right, the embellishment is right, there's a little bit of sparkle to it, the buttons are there, it's long sleeve. This is absolutely adorable. I love these kind of things. Let me know, do you pick up these kind of sweaters when you see them? I know every thrift store in the country has sweaters like this. Do you pick them up? Let me know. I love them. We are getting there, guys. Only 3 or 4 more to go. This is like my flavor of bread and butter. This is a linen top. I love this kind of coral color. It's like elbow length sleeves, nice boxy cut. This is from, I'm told by one of you guys that this is actually the name of the brand, just made in Italy. So it's Italian made. This isn't particularly like high-end linen. I think that these sell retail probably about, you know, $50, $60, but I get reliably like $25 to $30 on these tops all the time. People love linen. For me, I really like that this is kind of a different color. It's a different silhouette. It obviously needs a bath. It is so wrinkled. This will look great once it's steamed out. But yeah, all day. These are like my favorite kind of bread and butter pieces to pick up because people love them. They sell fast. They're a good quality fabric. And you know, again, they're very timeless silhouettes. Like this will never be out of style. I'll pick up these pieces anytime I see them, as long as I'm getting them at the right price. Next up, another vintage piece. And I mean, who went to the prom in the 80s and wore this dress? Like this exact dress. Like, let me know. If you went to the prom in the 80s and you didn't wear this dress, let me know what your dress looked like. I wish that there was a way that you could put pictures in the comments because I want to see all of your prom dresses. But this is just a pink little jacquard dress. This is like a lightweight jacquard. It's really like, it's not stiff. It's about midi length. It's got that little pickup with the bow. There's a little bit of an age stain there, but I'll see if I can gently get that out. It's got the lace underneath. There are so many ways I can go with this. It's obviously 80s vintage, but this can also go easily for like a costume, you know, like a Madonna costume, whatever. This will sell. I don't think that this was a particularly high-end dress. It's not like bad quality or anything, but just going by the fabric, I don't think that this was like something that was, you know, $500 in the 80s. But this will get probably somewhere around $40 on the resale market, $35 or $40. And I have no doubt that this will go pretty quickly. It's so fabulous. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I will never leave this behind. It is fully boned and the bones are like nice and sturdy, so it's something that'll actually stay up of its own volition. You can buy basically like cheap remakes of this dress today in that same price range, so why wouldn't you go for the vintage? It's so fabulous. Seriously, tell me what your prom dress looked like. Was it velvet? Did it have like the off-the-shoulder vibe with like a colored taffeta skirt? Next up, I think we've got 2 left. This sweater I absolutely love. So this is from By Anthropology. And I'm getting more selective with what I'm picking up from Anthropology, but I do like pieces from this line. I think it's one of their newer lines. I just love this sweater. Can you see the pattern on this? It is so like pale. It's like ultra light. It's a lightweight kind of drapey knit. I like the open like split neck here. Size medium, and this feels in like brand new condition. Okay, so it's a viscose linen blend. And I mean, the drape on this, I just think that this is so pretty. This is a perfect like beach sweater. I can 100% see this just being thrown on over a bathing suit. I just think that this is so cute and so beachy and coastal and like perfect for this time of year. I'll probably see somewhere between like 30 and 35 on this. I have no doubt that this will go really quickly. I just think it is so stinking cute. And finally, I mean, let's end this off with a great bolo. This is from Vuori. I feel like I have not found Vuori in a while. And I do think that Vuori is not going to be like a super bolo forever unless they really like innovate their styles and stuff. Because I think that we are just kind of as a society moving out of like athleisure as day wear a little bit, just a little bit. And Vuori really kind of ruled the roost when that was like the peak of it. But it's still a brand that sells so well. And I love this because it's not their fabric. I think they call it like dream knit, and it's this really super soft, it's all polyester, but it's like super soft and drapey. This is cotton, and I don't know if they make a lot of stuff in cotton anymore, but this is like one of their classic style men's shirts, but it is in this like cotton piqué, and it's gorgeous. But if you are out hunting, a lot of times like Lululemon, Vuori has like a tearaway tag that a lot of people get rid of. So you're looking for that logo. There's another logo that they do, especially on the Dream Knit in particular, that's just like, it's just a little V. Or if you're looking at a pair of pants and they have a drawstring, and the drawstring is like a diagonal light blue and cream stripe, that is also kind of their signature. So just little ways to kind of spot it in a pile if you're at the bins. But for sure, pick up any Vuori pieces, at least for right now that you're seeing. Comfortably pay up for them. I'll probably get like $45 to $50 on this. I mean, I've gotten t-shirts from Vuori, just plain old like pocket t-shirts that have like washwear that, you know, that are like clearly like not brand new condition, and they still sell for like $30. They're very expensive. This, I think, retailed, pick them up when you see them, at least for right now. I do think that this is gonna slow down at some point soon, just kind of watching what's going on with trends, but for now, still red hot, pick up those Vuori pieces if you see them. But that is it, guys. What did you think? I picked up a whole lot of sweaters in the spring. Yeah, we made some questionable decisions, but I think, honestly, I think all of the sweaters that I picked up, I know I picked up a lot of sweaters, and I am going to be probably trying to get those photographed later today and get them listed ASAP. But of the sweaters that I picked up, I think that all of them are pretty solid pickups. You know, there's definitely great vintage sweaters that I think will sell really well. The jacket is a great brand. It's gorgeous. It's definitely a statement coat. I think that that'll still sell pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised that sells, you know, within the next month. I guess my local stores were clearing out sweaters. It would make sense. There were a lot of sweaters that day. So I don't regret any of the sweaters that I picked up. I am mildly fearful, just given the season. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite thing that I picked up? Definitely some very cool vintage pieces, some very interesting pieces this week. I think all in all, considering the fact that I was only there for an hour, I think I found some really good stuff. But guys, I always appreciate you taking a little bit of your precious time to hang with me and go through these hauls. And in this case, experience some chaos of an extremely rushed trip to the bins. But I always love having you guys here. And I know that sometimes when I'm picking up things in the bins, like the first thing that comes to my mind is, man, I cannot wait to show it to you guys. But I really appreciate you all. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. Of course, if you have any other kind of content that you'd like to see me make, put it down in the comments. I'm always keeping my eye out for your ideas. You guys come up with some great stuff. But without further ado, guys, I hope you have the most beautiful week. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in the next one.